All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Torn Tuesday. Let's see if this thing works. Hi. I'm looking at the chat. We've got the chat from Twitter and Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch, all in one. Tukish says we're sounding good. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Torn Tuesday. We do this show every Tuesday at 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern, noon Wellington. And we have a lot to talk about today about places and things. But if you're not familiar with the OneRing.net, it abbreviates to Torn, the OneRing.net. Torn. We've been around for 20 years. Been doing this show for, we're coming up on our 11th year. We kicked it off around Comic-Con 11 years ago in the hype for the Hobbit movies. And I can't believe I'm still doing this show. So, never let your dreams be dreams. So we're doing this. We are live at Scum and Villainy Cantina. You might see a bunch of people moseying about, getting the bar ready to open for the evening festivities. This is where Kevin Smith does his podcast, his live show. And sometimes there's an audience, sometimes it's not. I believe Kevin was dealing with some, COVID stuff. A bunch of fans got COVID at Star Wars Celebration this last weekend. So it's just one of those, it's the world we live in. So I expect when it comes to Comic-Con, we are going to have to mask up and deal with it. Tukish says, what's in the glass? This is black cherry soda, not cherry Pepsi. This is black cherry soda, and it's very good. Seeger Boy says, last week Justin said they don't have anything in the UK instead of selling. Yeah, we've got a lot to talk about. Hey, there is Cliff in the presence. Hello, sir.
My goodness. Hello.
Hello.
My goodness gracious. Hello, sir.
Hello.
How are you?
Very
Hello,
good.
and forgive my tardiness, but you must understand, ladies and gentlemen, that a wizard is never late, nor is he early. He arrives precisely when he means to.
Well, let's see if this wizard finds out.
Can I roll a natural 20?
All right.
See if I roll a natural 20. I rolled a 13.
I
You
rolled an 18.
Okay, you win.
All right, so I am the host of the show with my 18.
What?
Yeah, for today.
That's not what we were rolling for.
We rolled for hosting.
No, you didn't.
You're the
say
co-host.
that.
You're the co-host.
You didn't
now.
say we're funny. You know what? I like the way you think, good sir. But after I get the lint off your hat, then you can be the host properly. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Clifford, and I do appreciate Justin for handling things so beautifully the way he handles them. Handling. And thank you very much for joining us again, faithful audience, wonderful Tolkien fans. Welcome to the show.
Cliff, the headline says it all. Let's not waste any time because we have...
Oh, gosh, that headline. I know.
Headline.
That headline, wow.
Yeah. So, Cliff, you brought this to my attention. This is huge.
Yes, indeed. As soon as I saw this, it was sent to me by a previous cast member who worked on the Hobbit movie trilogy. And they sent this to me secretly with a distinct undercurrent of personal rage about this situation.
Rage.
Yeah, it's very upsetting.
Rage into the night?
It is do not go gentle into that good night. It is actually...
Let's not bury the lead.
No, let's not bury the lead.
Auckland is selling the studio that Lord of the Rings was filmed at.
Because they abandoned it. They're not using it anymore, and they invested all that money in it. Now, here's the real thing. The New Zealand government invested all of that money into this infrastructure, into these studios.
Because Amazon promised multiple years of production and multiple seasons of production.
And it was absolutely necessary to build it because they needed to support the massive construct of making a show that large with all the logistics and all the space they needed for a show of that size and scale down there in New Zealand.
Cliff,
then look what happens. That comes from taxpayer money. That's why the New Zealanders are quite upset.
This
all comes from New Zealander taxpayer money.
And this is above and beyond the tax break that Amazon got for filming in New Zealand that they negotiated with the New Zealand government. As part of the whole package, the New Zealand government said, hey, we're going to spend a bunch of money sprucing up our Auckland film production center.
Indeed.
So Amazon can film Lord of the Rings here and commit to multiple seasons of the best production services in the world.
I second that emotion.
Auckland, Wellington, and all of New Zealand do offer the best production services in the entire world. And by Amazon choosing at the spur of the moment to move production to New Zealand, it is put or move production to UK. It has put New Zealand in a pinch. This is the headline of the show. Auckland City Council is selling the studio that Lord of the Rings was filmed in for the last 2 years.
Now, I don't want to cast my mind into the darkest places of Mordor, but I do want to think about how much the people paid for this out of public taxpayer money. And then let's take a look at what happened to it, that everything that was going to happen suddenly didn't happen, and now they have to cut their losses and sell it to any private investor who will take the space.
The government granted the studio $30 million of taxpayer money. So this is, we heard, this is just, I don't know how else to put it. This is just another casualty in the wake of the billion-dollar massive TV enterprise that is the Rings of Power. I don't know how else they could have played this. Like, maybe they overspent. Maybe the studio didn't have the best financial management. They negotiated a day rate in a deal with Amazon. And it did not cover everything that needed to be covered. Maybe Amazon was a demanding client and they needed extra handling and care and service. Or maybe, like everything else in the world, the pandemic caused a whole bunch of stuff.
And complications they couldn't surmount. Now, who's going to be a more likely person to come into these sound stages and snatch them up and start producing and making shows or movies? Who do you think is most likely?
Well, Taika Waititi.
Thank you. Yes, I would say there's a bunch of Avatar films coming. Taika Waititi as well as Peter Jackson, both of them as New Zealand directors. Taika Waititi and Mr. Sir Peter Jackson.
Sir Peter Jackson.
I think that they've got
James Cameron.
Yes,
who's got 5 Avatar movies plus whatever video games and other things.
I get a feeling it won't be long before we get an announcement of some other.
Tukish in the chat room says, seems like the pandemic forced this, and also they got smart and wanted proximity, more control, easier to access. Yeah, I believe like the proximity of shooting season 2, which if you watched last week's episode, we gave you all the details on what we think season 2 is going to happen as far as production. But this is a huge blow to the film community in Auckland that had spent the last 3 years of Lord of the Rings production and pre-production and set building and water tank building and Numenor building and Moria building
and 3D printing and manufacturing swords and
leather crafting
and ironcraft and ironworks and swords and handmade chainmail.
Is this confirmed for the show?
No, it's not confirmed, but you know how Weta did it before.
Yeah.
Now, the new show may or may not have some other different methodology in designing and building their hero armor, but back in the day, and this is what we sound like a lot as Tolkien fans, back in the day, 20 years ago, we were amazed and stunned at the effort. And there were a lot of artisans.
And they showed all the
We're talking about the nursery and greens department and the painters and the carpenters and the people who hang drywall, like my dad used to do working at Universal Studios building the Harry Potter world over there. These are people that are laborers. They're craftspeople, and they're very skilled day laborers with the most amazing experience in the specific wheelhouse of what they do. And none of them have jobs anymore. None of them have a show to make
Cliff,
anymore. I mean, I don't even know.
Do you think
Anyway.
some vendors, some people that worked on Rings of Power Season 1, do you think they took the job at the rate that they accepted based on a potential promise of multiple seasons?
Yeah, I know vendors who invested in a lot of their own things. Home office equipment, 3D printing equipment, people who invested in a lot of materials because they thought, I'm going to be using these materials for the next few years.
10 years.
That's what they thought. Now, what is it about this sale?
Is that a miscalculation on the vendor's part? I mean, or
no, you've got to be prepared. The studio comes to you and says, we're doing Lord of the Rings for many, many, many years.
Jeez.
And if you don't buy equipment and paintbrushes and 3D printers and things, then you're not a viable vendor for them to use anymore.
Yeah.
So no, it's more like, anyways, it's intriguing to me that we don't know who's going to end up scooping up these studios, but all of the people that I know personally who send me messages, they feel very unhappy. There is a lot of unhappiness.
Oh, so people in New Zealand
are very unhappy. There's a lot of unhappiness about this.
So this isn't just a news report. Like you've got a pulse of how people are feeling on the ground.
Yeah. There's a professional people who, instead of doing carpentry and designing swords, are now trying to drive Uber just to make ends meet, just picking up things on the side because they no longer have a show there. Look. It's not like there isn't a possible rebound. Some other huge streaming company, anybody, even film the highlight.
Well, let's get a pulse of it because we got people in the chat room.
Film production companies could come in and scoop this up and start hiring these people again.
We just explained some of the opportunity. Julia says Kia ora from New Zealand.
Oh, it's Julie James.
Red Carpet Tours.
Hello, Julia James.
So,
from
Julia,
Red Carpet
since
Tours.
you're in the chat room.
Hello.
Since you're in the chat room, Julia.
Yes.
What is the vibe in New Zealand right now post Lord of the Rings? Is there kind of despair? Are people excited that the fans will finally see the work that they put in, or is everyone bummed that they're not doing season 2 there? What's the pulse?
Yes.
What's the vibe?
That's an interesting question. Yeah, and you're right there. You know how it's going down.
Yeah. So
it's really great to have you guys interacting with us and to bring us, like instant input.
That's why we have the
comments.
chat room here.
I love this. It's
Cliff,
a great format. Yes, sir.
I don't know if I told you this, but we've got other sad breaking news out of New Zealand.
Sad breaking
Cliff,
news.
For the first time in 12 years.
Oh dear.
Weta Workshop is not coming to San Diego Comic-Con.
What? Wait a minute. It's a Lord of the Rings year.
And they did Avatar.
And it's an Avatar year, I guess.
And it's the 20th anniversary.
Oh, for heaven's sake.
The 20th anniversary of Fellowship and Two Towers year.
Is the 20th anniversary? You know what? What are they doing?
They're not coming.
They're not coming to
Weta
Comic-Con.
Workshop
are they busy?
Has announced that due to complications with travel restrictions and the COVID spiking here in California.
I see.
All of the cases and the travel restrictions back to New Zealand. If one person on the Weta crew gets COVID at Comic-Con, they basically lose someone for 3 or 4 weeks. So
I also got a feeling that
it's tough.
I got a feeling that they might not want to carve out so much of their talent to step away from the very busy things they're doing. They have so many projects going on.
Oh, Julia James responds. She says, New Zealand is celebrating the anniversary here. I'm sure tourism is opening at the end of June.
And yes.
You've got Red Carpet Tours is a legit operation. If you want the best tour of Peter Jackson's sets and locations and environments, you want to use Red Carpet Tours.
Keep in mind,
now that you can get into New Zealand.
It might be summertime here in North America, but down in New Zealand, they're entering into their winter season, obviously. That is...
But you can start booking stuff
You can definitely... This is a great time during the off-season to be booking ahead. And I love Red Carpet Tours with all my heart. The most wonderful, very, very friendly, competent, definitely amazing, skilled people in running such a big tour company to take people all around to filming locations in New Zealand.
Jill
best.
Miller in the chat
They're the
room
best.
says she understands Weta's decision. Cliff, Ellen says
Yes. Hi, Ellen.
that SDC without Weta will be way different. What does she mean by that?
Well, they have a unique presence on the exhibit hall floor. If anybody's ever been to San Diego Comic-Con, they will attest, and they will tell you that walking around in that general area near the Weta booth is something quite magic. They have large-scale props and trolls and dragon heads and sometimes a massive Azog or alerts. You never know who's going to be there. They have a display and a big corner booth.
They brought a full-size robotic dragon head that breathed smoke, and his eyeball would follow you around.
Oh, it was
they
so
had a
cool.
full-size Smaug
So cool.
at the booth.
And they have a distinct way of setting out their display. They have displays of their weapons and their collectibles and their statues. So amazing.
And some of these statues are like $2,000 or more. So this was the only time you could really get up close with something you could never afford.
And I have to say there's a personal attribute to this story. They personally let the fans talk to and interact with these illustrators and artists and sculptors who are the best in the world. And you get to actually talk to them and share your enthusiasm with them about that tree beard design that they made ages ago, or the beautiful polystone sculpture that you may have bought and has since increased dramatically in collector's value.
Monica in the
They're
chat room
so,
says
available to the fans.
She was there years ago, and Weta let me take pictures holding a full-size replica of the Black Arrow.
Oh,
they
wow.
let you hold the full-size Black Arrow that felled the beast.
That's larger than me. That thing is huge.
That's very big.
It's like,
yeah.
It's a cast iron. It must have been heavy. Hello, everybody. Nice to see you, Ellen, in the chat.
Oh, this is a good question. Arna wants to know, Cliff, if Weta isn't coming to Comic-Con, does this mean they are not involved in the show?
Oh, yes. We've been reporting for a long time that they're really not involved, except for some designs. They've done some minimal, and I'm going to use that word carefully, in describing how much involvement they've had in design and pre-production. I would say minimal involvement. Maybe some involvement, but compared to the previous 6 films, this is minimal Weta design stuff.
Well, I promised everybody on Twitter we have good news to share that will calm a lot of your fears, folks. This is huge, and we gave you the bad news first. Let me give you the good news. Are you ready? Are you ready?
Sure, I'm ready.
We can confirm with publicity stills that Weta Digital and Weta Effects are officially doing digital effects for The Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power. You can see right there, VFX producer Andy Taylor. You might recognize his name from The Hobbit years.
Oh, yes.
Paul Story, Ken McGaugh, Stephen Unterfranz, and Rocky Vanust are all the supervisors. They're doing animation, which means they're doing full digital characters. That is animation supervisors. That means it could be a Balrog, it could be a dragon, it could be a Gollum-like character. We don't know.
Oh, you mean like a motion capture type character?
So that is animation supervisors. You have the VFX supervisors. You have 3 VFX, which means a lot of green screen and set replacement. So this is huge. This is huge, Cliff.
Indeed it is. Now, that means we're not, as long as you folks know the difference, that's not Weta Workshop. That's not the people building the armor and the weapons and the bigatures. We're talking Weta Digital. Different set of folks entirely, right? That's the best way to explain it.
Well, I'm happy to report, Cliff.
Take a look at this,
I am happy to report that Weta Workshop has confirmed to us that they are involved in the Lord of the Rings, the Rings of Power, not just in a design aspect, but they are building costumes and or sets for the Rings of Power. Weta Workshop is officially part of the show.
You mean they made an official announcement?
This is right here, right from their website. These are recent projects they worked on. And as you can see right there, they did design work on Avatar: The Way of the Water. Of course, they wouldn't build any sets because that's an all-digital movie.
Yes.
But they did build sets and armor for Thor: Love and Thunder, and they just added to the website the Rings of Power. They have a build icon, which means they built stuff for... This is huge. Cliff, this is...
Wow.
So they may not be coming to Comic-Con, but we just confirmed that both Weta Digital and Weta Workshop are now officially involved in the Rings of Power.
Do you know what? I might have to correct my adjective. Earlier I said minimal involvement, right? I just said that a moment ago. I might have to correct the record, but not until we find out more. Maybe they're just farming out different sub-areas of build, set construction, armor, and specialty hero weapons. Maybe. We don't know. We're going to speculate now. Let's speculate.
Building stuff means making stuff.
What can we... let's do that then.
Okay.
What can we safely speculate? You, Justin, my dear audience, let us safely speculate what that means. Building. Are they building miniatures or bigatures? We don't know.
I don't think bigatures are in the program at all.
Okay. All right. I would imagine that they've built some huge, interesting sets for the Marvel movie, Thor: Love and Thunder. But let's see. All right. Let's speculate even further.
Here's my...
are they building sets? Like architecture and physical sets and elvish archways and things like that?
Let me give you my prediction.
What are they doing?
Again, I don't have any inside information.
Okay.
Here.
I'd like to know.
I believe that...
Physical sets. Yeah. That's what they want. Mojo Dojo says sets. Yes.
It was almost a year ago, Cliff, when you reported that each of the races of elves, men, and dwarves and Harfoots have their own production units.
Oh, yeah. That was an intriguing rumor that we heard. Yes.
Like their own film crews.
Their
own assistant directors.
Separate units. To be specific, imagine separating all the elves and the dwarves.
Imagine how many cameras
units.
you need. Imagine how many camera people you need
for
all the different units. Here's my
intriguing.
production, Cliff. That Weta was assigned to a single race. I think Weta was assigned to a single race. I believe that their work at Dwaro Delph and Moria was incomplete because it was the ruins of Dwaro Delph. I believe...
You think... Really? Dwarven? You mean Weta has been brought in to specifically do the Dwarven architecture.
That's my...
The Dwarven culture.
That's what I think.
The Dwarven... The massive cathedral under the mountain of Zarak-Zagil, which is... It was called Khazad-dûm way before the elves ever called it Moria.
Sense
it was Khazad-dûm, the greatest kingdom.
If each of the
Durin's
races of Middle Earth have their own production units, it makes total sense that if you're going to hire Weta for a part of this, you let them finish the work.
This could be... Don't you think this could be a bit of an unusual approach? Have we ever heard of this kind of an approach? Usually, a big film or a big TV series will farm out sequences. Like, there's a car chase sequence, and they send that out to a separate production house and let them work on the visual effects, right? And it's usually based upon elements of the show or sequences. Now we're talking about something entirely different.
Yes.
This is an interesting, weird idea.
It was a mine.
Malt beer, right meat off the bone.
So my question to you is, knowing all of the skill sets that Weta Workshop has,
yes,
what is the number one? Give us the top thing that you want out of Weta. Let's say they didn't do Moria and the whole set. What is the one skill? What do you hope Weta is involved in?
Props. Weapons.
Props and
weapons.
Not the beautiful, intricate elvish robes that we've been seeing in the trailers and the Vanity Fair photos.
No, I'd like to see.
You don't think that's Weta Workshop on Arondir's chest plate?
On the armor? I think that's totally cool. If it's going to be armor, why not them just be doing armor and weapons? Maybe that is an umbrella.
Does anything in the photos remind you of Weta's?
You're suggesting if they're not doing design and building of the Khazad-dûm sets, the big palatial dwarven halls under the mountain, to look like it was in its heyday, back in its glory days, before the wreck and ruin of the Balrog and the orcs infesting the place. If it's not Weta building and creating the glory of Khazad-dûm in its ancientry, then to answer your question, I'd rather have them doing weapons and armor as a block of their work. That would be my preference.
Right.
Yes, that'd be just my personal preference.
Okay. That's fair.
Look, Videco Riff says Weta involvement is a big positive. Unfortunately, great costumes do not remedy bad writing. That's also true. As always, we clearly understand that the greater burden of delivering success with this big, expensive series is not in any way on the craftspeople who make armor or weapons. We understand that. The greater burden is definitely on the writers to reproduce and capture and, in their own way, adapt that unique quality of Tolkien. And we have yet to see how that's going to break down. And that is my most burning desire. I agree with you on that. I'd love to know more about that, and that's why we keep howling in the wind, hoping that we can interview the writers or the showrunners. One of these days, we would like to have you guys join us on a live stream. We can sit right here with those writers.
Or virtually.
And have the showrunners and the writers join us for a merry gathering. We can have some really good nuts and bolts conversations.
And
I mean real nuts and bolts, granular conversations.
And
I'm all about that.
You just brought up something carrying over from the New Zealand moving production thing, is that not only Weta, but all of the artisans that worked on season 1. I don't think anyone has complained about the quality of the craftsmanship. None of the trolls, nobody has complained about the quality of the craftsmanship.
Because that doesn't get clicks.
Of the robes and of the armor and everything. The concern is, and Cliff, I guess this brings it to a point. Why are we so perturbed by the move to the UK? Is because what we see from the artisans in New Zealand is spot on. It's exactly what we want. And throwing all of that knowledge away, throwing all of those artisans to the side.
I see exactly where you're going.
Those artisans that have learned to work with Amazon producers, those artisans that have learned to work with the showrunners, those artisans that have worked, Cliff, those artisans that have worked with the actors and know every intricacy of their body and their movement and what would make an actor perform better. All of that knowledge has been thrown away, just trash, by moving to the UK. 3 years of the best craftsmanship.
You're right. You're quite right.
And we've heard that none of the vendors are being brought over to the UK. Again, that's rumors. Maybe they will. Maybe Amazon has time to renegotiate contracts and get some work out of them. I don't know.
Well, there is something to be said about not tapping into all the available experience that they do have in New Zealand with all those people down there who previously did the 6 films. Do you think it's like a missed opportunity, Justin? Perhaps maybe we should ask the audience as well in our live chat.
No, I think
is it missing a beat, an important step in the process to not really collectively get that heritage, that kind of legacy knowledge that all those artists have in New Zealand?
I don't think that matters anymore.
Bring it in.
I think the fans. We talked with you guys for the 5 years since Amazon first noticed this, and I think the fandom is pretty well united that we're open and we're ready for a new creative vision and a new take on Middle Earth. I don't think burdening anyone with hiring legacy people. And you know what? 20 years ago, they might have been 40 years old and in the prime of their career.
Okay.
A lot of those artisans might be retirement age now. And
no, that's true. I get that.
They can't handle.
I get that.
They might not have the energy to handle a TV production, which is super fast. So I'm happy with the quality of the work and the new vendors that they've hired.
Sure.
I'm just bummed out that they're throwing them away. And now they're selling the studio. They're selling the dang studio. That could have been yours, Amazon. Why didn't you even buy the studio? Why didn't Amazon just buy the studio? Maybe they always knew that they were going to move production. They signed a 10-year lease with Shepperton.
Yes,
they signed a 10-year lease with Shepperton. They're building 1 million square feet, as we reported last week. They're building 1 million square feet at Shepperton. Are they going to walk away after season 2 of that? No, absolutely not. They're staying put. Why didn't they put their roots in New Zealand? Maybe this whole New Zealand thing was
that was the premise of my question. It was about handling that legacy of talent that's on that island nation. We're talking about people who built
and take pride in their work.
They dug out a quarry for Helm's Deep, shot all the night scenes there for months, and then they repurposed it and rebuilt an entire different city for the external locations of Minas Tirith, where I physically was on location at that set in the Upper Hut, which was
they took pride in it.
It was a big mining construction quarry
you guys have
way
all
out
seen
there
the
in the Upper Hut.
appendices.
That's brain trust.
But
those are the type of people who can say, hey, Amazon, we know how to build, break down, and rebuild in the same spot because we've done it before.
And this is not denigrating UK artisans, not at all. In
Well,
fact, some of the
no,
best
not really.
stuff has come out of the UK, including most of the Star Wars stuff. But Cliff, maybe I'm being a little too negative, and maybe I should look on the brighter side of life.
Here he goes. That's funny.
You know, Amazon has shot every other TV show, Good Omens and Anansi Boys, and everything else
right there in the UK. Very, very successful productions in the UK.
Maybe we should be thankful that on the season 1, Amazon maybe broke their own rule, and maybe Amazon did do right by us fans, since we were yelling so loud, to film season 1 and only season 1 in New Zealand. Maybe they did us a favor by saying, you know what, for the first season, we got to do this right. We got to do right by fans. We got to do right by the country that created this franchise.
Okay.
Maybe the season 1 was the ultimate thank you to everyone, for Amazon to say, hey, we're going to shoot season 1 there. Maybe they didn't promise.
Do you know what?
2 multiple seasons.
I'll throw this prediction out there. I'm not the greatest fortune teller of the future, but I can safely predict this. As much as they have incredible talent in the UK, and look, they also did the Emmy-winning production of The Dark Crystal: Age of Resistance entirely in the UK with the most talented craftspeople and the most talented set builders on Earth. They're the best. But look at this. Here's the thing. How much you want to bet good money that they're going to produce everything seasons 2, 3, 4, and 5, but they're still going to have to go back and rent helicopters and get aerial footage of New Zealand? How much you want to bet? They are going to take a second unit and go back to New Zealand for big, wide, sweeping environments and the open vistas. That's definitely something I predict. They will have a second unit go back to New Zealand. I predict that.
The other thing I predict, Amazon is going to spend a small fortune of their infinite wealth to laser scan the entire country of New Zealand, get that 3D map model, build a video game engine, and use the Mandalorian set technology.
Massive tent, the big Mandalorian tent.
So I guess the question to you fans is, if Amazon scanned the country of New Zealand, but shoots all future seasons on a soundstage, but with New Zealand
now that's movie magic.
That's movie magic.
That's movie magic. I get it. That's kind of like.
But would you be okay with that?
I would be okay with that because I was totally okay with Jon Favreau's The Jungle Book being filmed all in downtown Los Angeles.
Interesting.
I was totally okay with that. Whatever they're doing with the Mandalorian technology, if they can really get authentic, beautiful, authentic New Zealand footage and then put it into that digital tent, I think that is an excellent compromise where they can bring the best of both worlds together. It's a synthesis.
A LIDAR Palantir.
A really good synthesis.
A LIDAR Palantir,
It's very intriguing. Chaos says, I'm pretty sure that the scenic plates that are required have already been shot for certain sequences in Season 2. Now, thank you for the input, Chaos. I'm intrigued by this. If they don't have construction done on the sound stages, you think they're out there in the Scottish Highlands actually filming and doing, like big sweeping aerial vistas? They might be out there busy doing all that outdoor footage while they're waiting, and it's going to be a while. Just like we reported last Tuesday, right? That there's a big waiting time on the construction. We reported on this just last week. Those people who are building the sound stages, the brand new ones, have barely even laid down the concrete.
Right.
Barely even laid down the concrete.
It's nowhere close to ready.
So this is really an intriguing concept. I kind of really like that idea that they're out there doing what they can while they have to wait for the construction of the buildings, and they're out maybe filming these plates. That's really cool. And you know what? They need to do all kinds of 3D modeling.
Right,
So maybe they're out there doing other aerial shots of the Scottish Highlands. Fascinating.
That could be fun.
You know what?
Moving on.
I'm going to ask our spies in the United Kingdom, all of our spies outside of Manchester.
Buy a drone now.
All you folks, buy, yes, exactly, brother. Get yourselves a drone. Please send us an email to spymaster@theonering.net.
We know how to keep privacy and secrets.
We can keep you super discreet and private. I just want to know what I want to know. I mean, I want to know what I don't know.
Well, Cliff, here's what we
I
don't
want to
know.
what I don't know.
Speaking of Spymaster,
that's funny.
The other place you can give us leaks is on our Discord, and the link is in the description of the
our
videos.
Discord. Yes.
Look up the One Ring on Discord. But this came into our Discord this morning, Cliff.
Okay, Sean McDonald says, yes, but Amazon has leased already existing studio space. But
for other stuff. We talked
other
about
shows.
that last week.
Yeah, that's for the other shows.
Moving on.
Yeah.
This jumped in today at 8:35 this morning. Someone jumped in our Discord and said, Rings of Power trailer number 1 incoming, either by June 8th or June 15th.
You mean that was a random drop in our Discord? Who said? Okay, this is very intriguing, but it's way before San Diego Comic-Con.
Cliff, what do you put on that rumor? Is that just is that just people guessing in the Discord? Or do you think this is a guy with inside information?
I think it sounds a bit. I love the idea, but it sounds a bit spurious because I'm confident they're saving everything for late July for
Comic-Con,
for San Diego.
Yeah. I don't doubt that there's a trailer ready right now.
But why drop it on some random June date?
Well, let me tell you, Cliff.
Okay,
let's find out. When was the first trailer?
Oh gosh, how many months ago? The teaser?
What event? Well,
the Super Bowl teaser.
Super Bowl, okay.
It was just a teaser.
Why did they put it at the Super Bowl?
Because of the media attention. That's the most watched thing in the world.
Okay, and
except for Eurovision.
Yes,
for America, it's the most watched thing.
And then on that Brazilian marketing video, when did they release that?
During the most watched show in Brazil.
Can I tell you what is happening here in the States on television between June 8th and June 15th?
Some of the most watched television in the world?
The NBA Finals with your Golden State Warriors here in California versus the Boston Celtics.
I see everything now.
The NBA Finals are on TV over the next couple weeks.
You think that the Rings of Power is going to be surprise trailered and surprise reveal during the NBA Finals?
Tell me I'm wrong.
I'm not going to tell you I'm wrong. I'm asking if you think that's likely.
Yeah, let's ask the chat.
Let's ask the chat, okay? I'm laying money that they're going to save everything to San Diego Comic-Con. Do you know why? There's so much of the world media and worldwide journalists and writers from every news media outlet. Seriously.
Tukish in the chat room says,
focused on San
what
Diego.
Is the TV viewership of the NBA Finals?
Oh, that's a good question. Thank you, John, for asking that.
Besides the Super Bowl and the Oscars, they're probably the most watched TV event of the entire year. Every year.
Wow.
Well, except when the Lakers won that Mickey Mouse championship.
Okay.
But
now let me put it this way. Would you be happier to have a surprise trailer during the NBA Finals versus waiting for the crowded field that will happen during San Diego? And it will be a very crowded media field during the Comic-Con.
I'm curious what your answer to be. My answer, don't do it. Don't do it, Amazon. Make us wait. Like
I agree.
I know that you want everybody, every beer drinking, sports loving, dwarf loving, Lord of the Rings passive fan that might remember the movies but never read the books. I know you want them to know about the show, and I know you want them.
This is fascinating.
To know that the show's coming in September. I know why you would do this. Don't. Cliff, do you want a trailer?
I echo that response, and I'll reinforce that response. Make the fans wait, Amazon, until San Diego Comic-Con. Do you know why? Because everyone wants to talk about the NBA Finals, and all they want to do is talk about that. The heat of that and the expression of that sports fandom will drown out the more interesting vibe and the more interesting buzz that you could get if you waited until San Diego Comic-Con. The energy will be much, much more uplifted, and you'll get much more results from the fandom if you drop it during that period of time, during Comic-Con, when they're most thirsty to talk about it and retweet it and repost it and recirculate the news. It will get a lot more recirculation during Comic-Con weekend. That's one man's opinion.
Okay, counterpoint, Cliff. Let's say NBA Finals is happening whether we like it or not. Are you encouraged by the idea that Amazon is not repeating the Super Bowl trailer? Are you encouraged that they would put out something new?
Oh, absolutely. Oh, 10,000 times. Yes. Yes. Someone in our chat just said...
okay? But would you be okay?
Yes.
Is it best of both worlds, though? Hold the trailer for Comic-Con, do buy an ad, but show a re-edited Super Bowl trailer.
Oh, I see what you're saying. A different slight teaser.
Like a 30, yeah.
Well, someone in the chat said that there's a rumor of a 2-minute runtime.
2 minute 12.
Whoa!
Yeah.
What? Who?
Never mind. Never mind.
Whoa! Wait a minute. Who knows?
Wait, no. Let's stay on the NBA Finals.
Wait a minute. No. Who knows the exact runtime? 2 minutes, 12 seconds.
Hang on.
Okay. I love you, Monica. Thanks, Monica. I would love to sneak you in if I could sneak you in. That'd be great.
Should Amazon? Are you encouraged? Is this a good sign that Amazon really is putting money into this by creating a new trailer for every television spot they purchase?
Actually, if that proves to be true, then yes.
Okay.
Yes, that is more encouraging, and that is the right way to do it. I think that's definitely the right. And I'm not a professional in marketing matters at all, but having a different iteration, an online thing that's 30 seconds versus the real theatrical 2-minute 12 trailer versus another little block thing that you see on Twitter that's only 7 or 10 seconds.
What if
they're going to have a whole variety of
What
those.
if the NBA TV audience gets a 30-second?
That's fine.
YouTube gets a 2-minute.
That's great.
And Comic-Con gets a 20-minute.
I'm down for that. That's perfect. You just took the lunch right out of my brain. I think that's awesome. I'm ready for that.
What do you guys think in the chat room? Do you guys want a trailer in the next 2 weeks, or would you be happier with a higher quality, more impactful video reveal in July?
Hello, Pipsky. Lovely to see you in the chat. And Julia, so good to see you, Julia. Felipe says 2 minutes, 18 seconds. It gets longer. The supposed San Diego Comic-Con trailer is now rumored to be almost 2.5 minutes long.
No, not Comic-Con. I don't think that's the trailer for Comic-Con.
Are you talking about the one that's going to be...
I don't know. I don't want the trailer in the next couple weeks, but I do think... I don't like this rumor.
Honestly, I'm content to wait for the proper time when Comic-Con is going to blast it out of the water, and it's going to be a very big, splashy kind of thing. I'm really into that.
Let's I gotta move on because we got other stuff to talk about.
Yes,
the final thing on the trailer, Cliff. Would you agree with me that
only sometimes, but
I think Amazon should show this 2-minute and 18 trailer to some influencers, whether or not it's Torn or the Tolkien Society or the Tolkien Professor. I wish they would show it in advance, behind closed doors.
Oh,
and that way we know what the drama is going to be. We know what fans are going to react to positively and negatively.
What do you mean as an early litmus test? So we could tell them whether the paper strip is going to turn red or blue based upon the acidity of the water.
Yes.
I get it. I kind of appreciate that. But do you think they would? Do you think
they're too secret.
Would they
that would never happen.
Call up Corey at Signum University and say, "Hey, Corey, Tolkien professor, check this out. Check this out before we show it to the world."
Would you guys watching the show
would that be intriguing?
Trust a trailer, even if the first viewing was kind of like, "Oh, why'd they do that?" Would you trust a trailer if maybe there was the other thing is like not just a litmus test, Cliff, but what if we knew like 3 or 4 days or a week in advance, and we could prepare this show. Corey Olson could prepare some of his talking points.
I like the way you think.
Of
yes.
like, all right, I understand where they're coming from here or there, rather than spending the 2 days of the trailer reveal just going, okay, why did they do that? And doing our own homework.
I think that's an excellent idea. You keep coming up with some good ideas, Justin. I'm quite surprised at you today.
I don't know.
Quite surprised at you. Very good ideas.
The marketing is kicking in, and my wheels are turning.
Now, one of our fans in the chat, who's one of our very faithful members of the audience, hello there, Cecilia.
European Lore Channel is one of the troll accounts. We had to block them from everything because they're disgusting. So if you mention them again, I'll give you a timeout.
Cecilia says the modus operandi is that there'd be 2 or 3 teasers, maybe 2 teasers, maybe a 3rd teaser, and then there would be a big trailer. And that is true. That is the MO for most of these operations. A couple of teasers, and then the big full trailer. So far, we've only had 1 teaser. Maybe the basketball championships will get a 2nd teaser, and then later on in July, kablooey, we get the big San Diego Comic-Con reveal. That 2 minutes, 12 seconds. Or maybe it's 2 minutes, 18 seconds. But maybe she's right. Maybe you're quite right in that.
Cliff, let's move on to Comic-Con.
I'm ready. Let's go. Are you going to make the announcement that I think you're going to make?
No.
Okay, then I'll shut my mouth.
I've heard... So... based on Weta Workshop announcing that they're not coming to Comic-Con. My curiosity peaked, and I'm like, all right, can I find out who actually is at Comic-Con? Who took over their booth space? Everything
that's
like
prime real estate in the middle of the exhibit hall.
And here's the thing. This could all change. We're still 2 months away. But according to the map that I've seen, Amazon is not represented on the convention floor.
Are you kidding? Amazon Prime doesn't have their own booth. The other studios do.
Not from what I've seen. I don't know if Lord of the Rings is even going to be on the show floor without Weta or Amazon.
That could be very interesting. If there's stuff in Hall H and they only show things in Hall H and have no presence in the exhibit hall, that seems a bit like they're missing an opportunity.
So let me ask you this.
Really?
Ballroom 20 is the 2nd biggest room. It's not as big as Hall H.
That's true. That's where the Futurama cast do their live script readings of Futurama.
So
right
let me
in
ask
Ballroom
you this.
20. Yeah.
Based on the current pulse of the energy of the show, do you think... I know Jeff Bezos is going to hate this because it's not the biggest room. Do you think this show should do Ballroom 20? I mean, there aren't any big stars on this show. Like that, we've got the dad from the guy from Ozark and Westworld. We've got an independent film actress from Saint Maud. Is this Hall H ready? I guess that's the question.
It is.
Rings of Power Hall H ready?
It is. People would look askance at that as very weird if they took Ballroom 20. That would look weird.
Who do you want on the Hall H panel? Actors, writers, showrunners? Jeff?
We want the analog of David Benioff and D.B. Weiss. We want
JD and Patrick.
We want our Patrick and JD. We want to have those two, and anybody else who wants to come is gravy. Okay. That's just icing on the cake if other actors come.
You trust them to represent this franchise.
I didn't say that. I said that it would be most important to have them represent their work. I didn't say that. I mean, really, to have JD and Patrick show up at Comic-Con and really talk to the audience and really say some things about what they're doing and what their work is like, that would be more useful to the audience than, some of the actors saying, I was so isolated in New Zealand and COVID was happening and I couldn't talk to my girlfriend back in Kansas, whatever. I'd rather get into the nuts and bolts of the show because they're the people responsible for it.
The chat room and Twitter and Reddit and our Discord keeps talking about Meteor Man. Guys, if you make Meteor Man a meme like Morbius did, I'm not going to hate you. Like, if Meteor Man becomes the Morbius of Middle Earth,
oh no,
it's Morbin time. It's Meteor time.
Meteor Man. That does seem like such a strange thing. It does. It continues to seem strange to me. I don't know what they're doing, but we'll find out when we find out. Okay? If the people on Discord are giving us really good, juicy, upfront gossip, then maybe, just maybe, we need to keep a close eye on the basketball championships. Dylan, all right, as a fan, I'm talking to one of our wonderful, talented bartenders here at Scum and Villainy Cantina, which are graciously hosting us tonight. As a fan, as a Lord of the Rings fan, do you want to get, like, droplets of teasers on the Lord of the Rings show month by month by month, or are you willing? Are you willing to wait until
way beyond that.
Late July to get the big Kahuna,
Oh
the big
shoot!
teaser?
We've got 10 minutes to go.
We got 10 minutes to go.
Talking about
real quick.
Comic-Con, we've got Amazon Prime is at San Diego Comic-Con, and we've got pictures of what they previously did. So this is the Amazon Prime. We told you that Amazon Prime is not on the show floor. I don't think they've ever been on the convention floor, but they have built a giant experience.
Wow, take a look at that.
This is what we call an off-site. Cliff, what does off-site mean?
The off-site experiences are always outside of the convention hall. You literally leave the convention and go to an off-site location.
And this is across the street, basically. You can see the convention center in the background.
They are usually directly across the street or at the adjacent stadium, the baseball stadium.
That's right.
You know what it's like? There's not enough room inside the exhibit hall.
For all the big stuff.
For all the crazy big stuff. So they move them outside.
So this was Amazon's Prime's big Carnival Row, The Boys, and The Expanse.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
And they did it well. I mean, these are all costumed actors that performed at the event. They had real effects going on. You can see some Expanse set building.
Wow! Yeah.
I mean, they don't skimp. Amazon does not skimp.
Whoa, there's a lot of details.
You know, this is the tower.
And are you getting a rumor that they're not building that this year?
So here's the thing. Let's go back. Let's show a little bit of. Oh, this is just cycling through. So Amazon has built a full comic book shop, like
a full comic book shop
for the boys. But look how big this tower was.
Wow!
And you could visit all levels of that. Explore the shows. This was huge.
Monica is asking, do you need a Comic-Con badge to go to these off-site activations?
No.
No?
No. If you just come to San Diego, you don't need a badge for the off-sites. Only to get into the convention.
Only a couple of them. Only a couple of them say you have to have your San Diego
so this is
Comic-Con badge.
This is what Amazon has done previously. Okay?
That's pretty cool, actually.
That is huge.
Wow.
Now, Cliff.
Yes.
Let me ask you this: we just saw Amazon's big, and they submitted that for awards and stuff like that.
Okay.
But Amazon was promoting Amazon and Prime Video, and they had 3 shows on display: The Expanse, The Boys,
and Carnival Row, with our very own Legolas, Orlando Bloom.
Do you think Lord of the Rings commands a higher value presence? Right?
Oh, you mean so it wouldn't be bunched in with a bunch of other shows, but have its own separate activation?
Is that what you expect out of the Lord of the Rings?
100%. I 100% expect a Lord of the Rings activation to be a separate, large-scale thing all on its own. Do you remember that year when they did that thing? It might have been a video game where they had people out there in this huge parking lot, and the Eye of Sauron was moving around and looking at people in the parking lot. And because you had submitted your phone before coming into the event,
it knew you were there.
It was geolocating, and the Eye of Sauron turned and moved and pinpointed someone in the crowd based upon their phone.
That was amazing.
That was so cool. But what was that? Was that for a video game?
Yeah, it was.
It was for a video game.
Yeah. War in the North or something like that.
I think so. Now, that's the kind of cool, high-end stuff
and
I expect Amazon to do.
But I expect Lord of the Rings to be its own individual, not lumped in with other shows. And I think this goes to the core fear that a lot of fans have with the production of the show. Lord of the Rings, in a lot of fans' minds, deserves an extra level of care. Don't just put it into a production pipeline where it's like, film The Boys for 3 months. Go film Anansi Boys for 3 months. Go film Good Omens for 3 months and then go film Lord of the Rings for the next 3 months. Like there's the Marvel pipeline. I don't think the fans don't want a Marvel pipeline. They don't want Lord of the Rings to just be equal footing with all of the other quality shows at Amazon. I'm not saying that we don't like those shows.
No, we love them. I mean, look, Amazon has to do a lot of work to position Anansi Boys. Only the readership, only the readers of Neil Gaiman know what that is.
So here's the latest rumor, Cliff.
They're trying to bounce that off the success of Good Omens Season 2. That's a build. And they've got the boys. That audience for the boys is captured. They've captured that audience. Now they're working on this Rings audience. They've got to capture this audience now.
But they got to go all in on Rings.
Yes.
All respect to the boys.
I agree.
All respect to Carnival Row.
I agree.
But Amazon... Jeff is $1 billion into this season 1. Just commit.
Yes.
Just commit to Lord of the Rings. Nothing else. Put your blue flag.
Yep.
Anyway,
I agree.
So Cliff, here's the latest. Here's the latest rumor for Comic-Con.
I'm down.
Even though Amazon is not on the show floor, the rumors are that the budget for the Lord of the Rings only offsite, the Lord of the Rings exclusive,
oh my gosh,
is $5 million.
Holy moly. Really?
$5 million.
So there is a rumor that this is going to be an off-site thing that won't be related to the other Amazon programming.
It's just Lord of the Rings exclusive.
And $5 million price tag.
And we heard that
holy moly.
One of the top Comic-Con marketing agencies has been hired to do it. And let me give you an example.
Show me.
Of what some of this is. A couple years ago, one of the best in the business created the Blade Runner bar at Comic-Con. It's not what you think, guys. It's even better. They had full-size vehicles there.
Oh, cool.
It was a full bar, police line. You could go take pictures, do the whole thing.
Wow, that's awesome.
This was just the entry to get into the bar because they had a full recreation dim sum bar that you could order food at.
Gasp. I just said the word gasp. I mean, really, that's
superb. And if you look on the left, there are actual actors dressed in movie cosplay.
Oh, that is so cool.
Oh, that's John Schnepp.
That's John Schnepp in that photo.
Oh, my God.
I'm looking there. That's John
our
Schnepp.
Friend.
Oh, my gosh.
They had props from Blade Runner 2049.
I'm seriously, wow.
They had weapons from Blade Runner 2049.
They had shadow dancers.
They had shadow dancers sponsored by Johnny Walker. They had costumes from Blade Runner 2049.
Whoa.
Custom designed coat. You could get your drinks. Look, this is how you could get actual Johnny Walker drinks.
That's a lot of booze.
In the vial.
That's a lot of booze.
And folks, the crazy thing about this bar is that it was all enclosed, and they had sprinklers that rained every hour on the hour.
To make it wet in there.
You could literally eat dim sum in the rain.
I'm absolutely blown away. If they could do something like that for Blade Runner.
They made it rain at Comic-Con.
With a rain machine inside the space. Inside the space.
So if Amazon wanted to put us on a boat with Galadriel, they could absolutely do that at Comic-Con.
Whoa, you mean in a water tank?
They could they could build Numenor Island and send us there. They could sink Numenor. Like if they really wanted to go all out, they would sink.
I love it.
Let me give you guys one more example
that's
of a crazy full immersive experience.
That's what $5 million might buy.
Check out this immersed experience for Westworld.
Yeah.
Welcome to Westworld.
Well, that's cool.
This is a photo from the event I went to. That is not from the movie or the TV show. That is from the event. This is where I got my ticket. Cliff, you've seen my Westworld hat.
Yes, I have.
My big Stetson.
I love that. Yes.
They gave you a ticket to a Delos destination. You had to go to this hotel off-site.
Dan. I love Dan. He said, why not build a full-size Numenorian ship and then dock it in San Diego Harbor? I love that idea, dude.
They had Delos all on the glass doors. They had choose your weapon. I got to choose my gun or knife. I got to choose my black hat or white hat.
Whoa, how cool.
Westworld Concierge. This is the hat that I got. It is branded Westworld on the inside. Stetson hats go for around $500.
Yes, there are.
So I got a $500 hat.
I saw
for
the most
free.
amazing documentary about how the Stetson hats are made. It is an amazing manufacturing process.
They're worth them. They're worth
It's
the money.
worth the money. It's like no other hat that is made in the world.
And then they had a full-on
It's
saloon
remarkable.
with flaming cocktails.
Oh, how cool!
Flaming cocktails.
Wow.
That you could get for free. This is all for free, by the way. And while you were sitting there, other android robot actors would chat you up, and then
Really?
and then there was a door to Shogun World that I really wanted to go to.
Shogun World. That's crazy.
It was
super cool.
Basically,
Wow.
I went to Westworld, and it was fully believable.
Wow.
And Cliff, that picture that we saw of the Amazon booth, that is not full immersive. That was marketing. This Blade Runner and Westworld are full immersives.
Wow.
That's what we're expecting from Amazon at Comic-Con this year. You might not need a badge to get in. So if you live in Southern California, might want to make a day to drive to San Diego.
All-important question. Now that you've said that, the all-important question with the fans right now,
Yes.
and I'm looking at you, Stephen R., can you post on social media if you need an SDCC badge or not to get into the LOTR offsite?
They haven't announced anything. We could be full. We could be
wrong.
making stuff up right now.
Could be wrong.
This is all Green
But
Dragon gossip.
these are-
Maybe Amazon just lost faith and they don't show anything Lord of the Rings.
We'll find out when
We
we
don't
get
know.
there. But it's true that people will make a very special trip just to come and see if this is available for everyone. There are people who will flood San Diego who don't even go to the convention to come to this if it's really happening. That's fascinating.
Kaylin in the chat room says Godzilla movie did a full immersive and the big guy walked right behind the window and stopped and looked at you.
Oh, cool. I'm so down for that. I am so down.
Folks, there's reasons to get excited. So, again, as a recap, at the top of the show, we announced that the Lord of the Rings production studio in Auckland is for sale. They didn't get any work. Amazon abandoned it.
Yep.
And the government in New Zealand is sick of putting money into a studio that's not making money. So
that was the unfortunate way to that was unfortunately not the best headline to start the show with, but it is imperative that we talk about all these things in as neutral a way as possible, even though I've got my own personal opinions, but just reporting the news so that you folks can understand what happened in the past and what might be in store for the future of this production as Amazon puts different people and different resources together and try to rein it in.
Rein it in.
They're just going to try to rein it in and make the show whatever they can make it.
The good
as best
news
as they
is
can
that we
make it.
reported second on the show
Yes.
is Weta Digital and Weta Workshop are confirmed to be working on the show. We don't know how much and in what capacity. We've got our rumors, but that's really exciting.
And
unfortunately, Weta Workshop is not going to be at Comic-Con due to COVID restrictions. But
that's too bad.
But
though.
you
That's too bad.
you guys can now return to New Zealand at the end of June. Tourism opens back up. You have to be vaccinated and everything like that. So plan your trip to New Zealand. Book with Red Carpet Tours. Visit all of the sites. And who knows? Maybe Red Carpet Tours is working on a tour of the Amazon sets. Who knows?
That would be really intriguing. And, we're going to be giving much more specific confirmations very soon on theonering.net and on our social channels.
That's right.
We will be giving confirmation and full updates about the presence of ourselves, theonering.net. We'll give everybody updated news about where we're going to be and the big presentations that we're going to offer, covering all the news and all the rumors and everything up to snuff at Comic-Con. So watch out. Watch out on our Instagram, Twitter, Facebook.
We're hearing
and
lots
on our
of
main
things,
site.
whether they're true or not. You can find them on Discord. You can find us everywhere, the One Ring Net.
Absolutely.
And that is it for the One Rings Lord of the Rings update on everything. Scum and Villainy is now open for business. People are shuffling in for blue milk and everything else. So, Cliff?
It's a really fantastic show, and I want to say thank you again to the live audience joining us on all these different platforms. Thank you, everybody, for being with us in fellowship and in good faith, talking about all these fascinating things. special shout out to one of our digital producers, Chris Saint. He's over there in the sidelines. Hello there, Chris. And special thanks to all the hardworking staff of Scum and Villainy for helping us host this show. It is time to say good night, good luck, auf Wiedersehen. We'll see you next Tuesday right here at 5 o'clock Pacific time, and we're going to have a lot more juice, a lot more rumors, and a lot more stuff to go on. Trust. Until then, be gentle with yourselves, take care of one another, and be kind, and have an excellent week. We'll see you, safe and sound, right here next week on Torn Tuesday. In the meantime, follow me, QuickBeam2000, on all those little social media channels, and you can follow us at The One Ring Net. We'll be there, and we'll be reporting the news and bringing all the good stuff to you as soon as we hear of it. Thank you, sir, for starting the show. Thank you for running things. I love you guys, and I love you, Justin. Thanks for everything. Until next week, good night and good luck, or as I like to say, buenos noches y buena suerte. Bye, everybody.